للرجال نصيب مما ترك الوالدان والأقربون، وللنساء نصيب مما ترك الوالدان والأقربون مما قل منه أو كثر نصيبا مفروضا.
Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. In this lesson, we will study the inheritance of the grandfather along with the siblings. Condition of grandfather's inheritance. Number 1. Paternal grandfather is amongst the heirs in the absence of the deceased's father. Number 2. If the grandfather is also absent, the great-grandfather takes the place of the father. And likewise, in his absence, the great-great-grandfather takes the place of the father if he is alive, and so on. Number 3. The father totally excludes full paternal brothers and sisters from the inheritance. Number 4. However, there are differences of opinion in regards to the inheritance of the grandfather with full and paternal brothers and sisters. There are two different opinions in regards to grandfather inheriting with the siblings. Number 1. The siblings do not have inheritance right with the grandfather. Number 2. The siblings have right to inherit along with the grandfather. The first opinion is held by Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu and along with some of the Sahaba. So when Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu was the Khalifa, the siblings did not inherit with the grandfather. When the time of Umar radiallahu anhu came, Zayd al-Fardi, Zayd, who was the person who was known for fara'id, the inheritance, at the time of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, along with Umar radiallahu anhu and Uthman and Ali, hold the opinion that the siblings have right to inherit along with the grandfather. The main reason the Sahaba and the ulama after differed in regards to the grandfather's inheritance along with the sibling is that the grandfather comes to the wealth through the dad and through the deceased person. So does the brothers and sisters. Full brothers and paternal brothers and full sisters and paternal sisters come through the father, through the deceased, to the wealth of the deceased. So their connection both is the father. Those who deny the brothers and sisters inheriting with the grandfather are on the opinion that the sisters and brothers are blocked by the dad, and grandfather is like your dad when the dad is not around. So he does the same actions. He prevents brothers and sisters inheriting with him, just like the father who prevents brothers and sisters inheriting with him. According to the majority of the ulama and the jumhur of the Sahaba, the majority of the Sahaba, the companion of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the grandfather inherits along with the brothers and sisters. Grandfather has three choices when he is inheriting with brothers and sisters only. Number 1, muqasama. Sharing is better for the grandfather. Meaning, muqasama, he is considered to be like a brother. He's not treated like a grandfather. He's treated like a brother. So, sharing like a brother is better for him. Number 2, 1/3 of the estate is better for the grandfather. Option number 3, muqasama, sharing, and 1/3 is the same for him. So for the grandfather, we have three choices. Number 1, muqasama, sharing is better for the grandfather. 1/3 of the estate is better for the grandfather. Or muqasama and 1/3 of the estate is the same. In order to assess the choices of the grandfather, we're going to use this ruler to check what is better for the grandfather. So for example, one male full brother or paternal brother is equal to 1. One female is equal to half, 0.5. In this ruler, we have 3 zones. The middle zone, which is number 2, and we have the red zone here, and we have the green zone here. If the number of people equal to 2.5 or greater, 1/3 of the estate is better for the grandfather. Meaning, here we have 2 males and 1 female. Or we can have 5 females. If the number of people equal to 1.5 or less, muqasama is better for the grandfather. So for example, we have 1 male and 1 female. The grandfather is treated like amongst the brothers. However, if the number of people are exactly 2, muqasama and 1/3 is the same for the grandfather. The natija or the results will always be the same. The amount grandfather is getting is going to be the same. Example number 1. Grandfather and a full sister inheriting. It's better for the grandfather to get a muqasama rather than 1/3. So he's treated like a brother. So he's going to do للذكر مثل حظ الأنثيين. So 1 sister equals to 0.5. The grandfather is 1. So he is getting 2 out of 3 and she's getting 1. Example number 2. We have grandfather, full brother and 2 full sisters. So the number of people that are with the grandfather is equal to 2. So here, either way you get the same result if you give grandfather 1/3 or muqasama. So in this example, he is treated like a full brother. He's treated like a full brother. So he's gonna get للذكر مثل حظ الأنثيين. The girls are getting 1 each and the boys are getting 2 each. So in the same example number 2, if we make the grandfather take 1/3, meaning he's taking 1/3 of the wealth instead of doing muqasama. Muqasama meaning sharing like a brother. But now we decide to give him 1/3. So asl al-mas'ala is 3. The grandfather is getting 1/3, 1, and the 2 sisters and a full brother are getting 2. Here we need to fix the inkisar. So we have the brother is equal to 2 sisters, so we have a 2 here and 2 here. So altogether we have a 4. The relationship between 4 heads and 2, the 4 can be divided by the 2. So we end up with 2. We take this 2 on top of the total share. So it becomes 2 times 3 equals 6. So then we times the 2 here times 1. 2 times 1 equals 2. And 2 times 2 equals 4. The sisters, they take 1 each. And the brother takes 2. Which is the same result in the first one. Example number 3. 1/3 of the estate is better for the grandfather. In this example, we have a grandfather and 3 paternal brothers. So we said if the number is equal to 2.5 or greater, it's better for the grandfather to take 1/3 of the estate. So in this case, we build the case upon the share of the grandfather. The grandfather takes 1/3 of the estate, and the remaining goes to the paternal brothers. Example number 4, we have 1 paternal brother and 3 paternal sisters. So their number total is 2.5. If the number of people that are with the grandfather equals to 2.5 or greater, 1/3 of the estate is better for the grandfather. So likewise, the grandfather takes 1/3 of 3, which is 1, and the remaining goes to the paternal brother and paternal sisters. Grandfather along with brothers and sisters in the presence of heirs inheriting compulsory share. In this scenario, grandfather has 4 options. Option number 1, 1/6 of the whole estate is better for the grandfather, and that's the minimum the grandfather gets. Option number 2, 1/3 of the residues after other heirs have received their shares. Option number 3, muqasama, sharing, just like a brother. Option number 4, muqasama, sharing, and 1/3 is the same. These heirs must not include father or male descendant, because the father excludes grandfather as well as full and paternal brothers and sisters, while male descendant excludes full and paternal brothers and sisters. Example number 1, we have a husband, grandfather, and a full brother. The case is always built upon the share of those inheriting compulsory share, which is the husband in this case. So the denominator is 2 here. So half of 2 goes to the husband. And the remaining, what is better for the grandfather? Here in this occasion, muqasama is better for the grandfather. So we fix the fraction between the grandfather and the full brother. So we have here, number of heads is 2, and they are getting 1. So we times the 2 on top of the total share. So 2 times 2 equals 4. And then we times the 2 upon the share of the husband. 2 times 1 equals 2. And also, and then you divide it amongst the grandfather and the full brother. So each one of them is getting 1. Another example, muqasama is better for the grandfather. We have a wife, grandfather, full brother, and a full sister. The wife is given her share, which is a quarter. The remaining is 3 now. Is this 3 greater than 1/6? Yes, it's greater than 1/6. So we look at what is better for the grandfather. We have number of heads here. He's equal to 1 and she's equal to 0.5. So we have 1.5. Al-muqasama is better for the grandfather. So we give him muqasama here. The number of heads here, we have a girl and 2 boys. So each boy is equal to 2. So 2 and 2, and she is 1. So we do للذكر مثل حظ الأنثيين. This is add up together equals 5. We look at the relationship between the 5 and the 3 here, which is there's no division between the 2. So we take the entire 5 on top of the total share. So we do 5 times 4, which is 20, and then we times the numbers here. 5 times 4 equals 20. 5 times 1 equals 5. And the remaining, which is 15, divided by 5 people, which is 3. And each boy gets 3 times 2, which is equals to 6. And the girl gets half of the boys. Example number 3. 1/6 of the estate is better for the grandfather. In this example, we have 4 granddaughters daughters and a mother and a grandfather and a paternal sister. The granddaughters are getting 2/3. The mother is getting 1/6. The granddaughters received 4 and the mother received 1, and that is total of 5 out of 6. We looked at the remaining. This is 1/6 is remaining, and we said the grandfather can't get less than 1/6, so it's not possible the remaining to be divided amongst grandfather and the paternal sister. So in this occasion, the grandfather takes the 1/6, which is the minimum for the grandfather. He's treated like a father. The father never gets less than 1/6. If the brothers and sisters are equivalent to 2. Example number 1. Muqasama, sharing, and 1/3 is the same and is no less than 1/6. In this example, we have grandfather and 2 full brothers. The case is built upon the share of the husband, which is 2. Half of 2 is 1, and the remaining goes to the grandfather and the 2 full brothers. Here we have 2 people with the grandfather, so muqasama and 1/3 is the same. Either way is going to be the same. So the number of heads here is 3. We do 3 times 2, which is the total share of the first case, which equals to 6. We can also do 1/3 for the grandfather. We can give the grandfather 1/3 of the remaining. So we take the denominator and put it on top of the total share, which is 3 times 2 equals 6 as well. So give the husband his share. Half of 6 is 3. And the remaining, which is 3, give the grandfather 1/3 of 3. So 3 divided by 3 equals 1. So the grandfather is getting 1. The remaining goes to the 2 full brothers. Example number 2. We have a husband getting half, and a grandfather and paternal brother and 2 paternal sisters. The husband is given his share from 2. Half of 2 is 1, and the remaining goes to the grandfather and the paternal brother and 2 paternal sisters. So here we have grandfather is equivalent to 2, the brother is equivalent to 2, and the girls are 1 each. So we have here 6 heads. 6 and a 1, there's no division between them. So we take the 6 on top of the total share. 6 times 2 equals 12. 6 times 1 equals 6. And 6 times 1 equals 6 as well. So we divide that 6 amongst the grandfather, who gets 2 shares, the paternal brother, who's getting 2 shares, and the girls are getting 1 share each. Example number 3. 1/6 of the estate is better for the grandfather. In this example, we have a wife, daughter, grandfather, and 4 full sisters. The wife is getting 1/8 because of the daughter. The daughter is getting half because she's the only daughter here. The grandfather now is getting the remaining with the 4 full sisters. However, if this wealth is divided amongst them, the grandfather will end up less than 1/6, and grandfather doesn't get less than 1/6 ever. So we change the case and we say the grandfather is getting 1/6 of the entire share. So here we build the case upon the denominator of the wife and the grandfather, which is 24. The wife gets 1/8, which is 3. The daughter gets half of 24, which is 12. The grandfather gets 1/6 of 24, which is 4. And the remaining goes to the 4 full sisters. If the brothers and sisters are equivalent to 3 or more, the grandfather takes 1/3 of the residue after the heirs receive their share. Example number 1. 1/3 of the estate is better for the grandfather. We have a mother, grandfather, and 5 full brothers. Here we have 5 full brothers, so it's better to give the grandfather 1/3. So the case is built upon the share of the mother first. So mother takes her share with 1/6 of 6, which is 1. The remaining goes to the grandfather and the full brothers. So the grandfather takes 1/3 of 5. We take the 3 here. Time is on top of the total share of the first case. 3 times 6, which is 18. 3 times 1 for the mother is 3. 3 times 5, which is 15. And the grandfather takes 15 divided by 3, which is 5. And the brothers take the remaining, which is 10. Example number 2. 1/3 of the residue is better for the grandfather and is not less than 1/6 of the entire wealth. In this example, we have a husband taking half, grandfather and 4 paternal brothers. So the grandfather is sharing the remaining with 4 paternal brothers. So 1/3 of the remaining. So we take the 3 and times it on top of the total share. 3 times 2 equals 6. And then 3 times 1 for the husband, which is 3. And 3 times 1 give the grandfather 1/3 of the remaining. So 3 remains. 3 divided by 3 equals 1. And that's the share of the grandfather. And the remaining goes to the paternal brothers. 1/6 of the estate is better for the grandfather. So here in this occasion we have wife, 2 daughters, and grandfather. The remaining in this occasion is 5. So it's better to give the grandfather 1/6 rather than dividing it with 3 brothers. So straight away we give the grandfather 1/6 of the entire wealth. The end.